Hey everyone, thanks for joining us. Larry Janae here, Tom O'Loughlin, and Michael Oretsky. Welcome to the South Florida Industrial Real Estate Podcast. We're very excited to be here speaking to you at the end of the year. And our topic is, what surprised you looking back? Maybe one or two trends that really came out of nowhere in 2025. And I'll start with Michael over here. Michael, what really shocked you in 2025 as far as a trend in the market for us down here in South Florida?
Yeah, so sitting here end of the year and looking back to Q1 forward, obviously starting the year out, tariffs were our big kind of bogey in the market. That it was a big crutch in terms of tenants' decision making, and we were really tracking the current tenants and how that would affect their business, and if that would affect downsizing, expansions, or just how they were acting going forward. Really, they didn't seem that affected by it, which was shocking. Every year it's something. There's some news, whether it's the election, tariffs, interest rates, whatever it may be. But the tariffs, if anything, were more of a delay in decision making versus the tenants actually being affected on the ground. Tom, myself, we've all been boots on the ground there and talking to tenants about their business, and they kind of shrug it off. In the beginning, it was a lot of noise. There was a lot of worry going on, and whatever that tariff was, they figured it out. Business went on, life went on, and everyone's transacting and acting as usual.
Yeah, it feels like there was a couple of month period there where everyone was very freaked out. There was a lot of fear in the market and uncertainty, and obviously CFOs hate that and large businesses hate that. So there was a big pause, I would say, but it ended up being sort of a nothing burger.
It was a delay more than an actual feeling it on the ground in their businesses. So it was more of a CFO, I can't approve this expansion. We got to wait and see what happens. And there was really no effect to the tenants on the floor.
Yeah, because you think about it, some of the different markets, the international markets, LA, Inland Empire, New York, New Jersey, probably got hit pretty hard. But you think Miami has a huge international, South Florida has a huge international business driver. I'm with you guys. I didn't see much tariff. Yeah, a crutch slowed things down. Maybe a couple niche players fell out of bed or went bankrupt or did something. But a trend, I didn't see it come from tariffs this year.
Yeah, very good point. Just because it happened down here the way we're describing it doesn't mean it happened everywhere that way. So we're not speaking in a national sense, but in a local sense.
South Florida centric.
South Florida.
Yeah, that's very insightful, Mike. Thanks for sharing that. So Tom, same question to you. What's a trend from 2025 that really surprised you that you think the market really had to grasp?
Obviously, like many markets, South Florida was kind of chewing through probably a little bit of an oversupply hangover coming out of COVID. We built a lot and did a lot of stuff. And surprisingly, that has not deterred people's desire to acquire land at premium pricing. Even small acreage, big acreage, whether it's institutional level purchasing for future industrial parks, or even the onesies and twosies, 1 acre, 2 acre iOS guys, like our land pricing premium stayed intact. I have not seen any crazy discounts. I didn't hear about anybody steal any land at great pricing. A pretty good thing. I guess we've found the floor, but overall land pricing across Broward, Dade has stayed pretty steady this year, which I thought we would definitely start seeing some people run for the doors or some forced selling and stuff like that. But people have retrenched and that floor exists as strong as it did, in years past. Yeah,
that's an excellent insight. And I think you're 100% correct on that. We did find a floor, and it wasn't that far away from the ceiling. The clearing prices were basically $1.7 million, if you've got raw unentitled dirt, and everything else was pretty much $2 to $2.5 million an acre. And pricing never really fell below that. And developers are dying to buy additional land and continue to fill the backlog. So they have more supply coming over the next year or 2 or 3, because as you know, it takes 2-3 years to develop this stuff and get it out of the ground. So they're looking ahead as they're buying stuff now. So, from that perspective, with the floor being set in the, high 1 million an acre range, low 2s, and hopefully a lower interest rate environment coming over the next year or 2 as the Fed chairman steps down and a new Fed chairman comes in, buying land right now it's probably a really good idea because you've got the discount built in, you've got low interest rates on the horizon, hopefully, and that's a tailwind for development.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. And we're in some submarkets, we're even seeing, it back into that 2.5 to 3 million, especially for good infill sites. Some of these crazy office knockdowns and some of these other like marquee sites, we're right back, near the peaks, for well-located things. But the appetite is ferocious all of a sudden again for land. And, I think people just look at it like there's two ways to get into South Florida. Either you buy yourself in here, you buy your way in on a really aggressive cap rate, or you build your way in. And a lot of people are taking the build approach just because they think there's better returns and better margin.
Yeah, I remember we did an analysis a couple of years ago, maybe it was as many 5 years ago now, and it was like hundreds of acres were left of industrial dirt. And that was like 5 years ago. So I can't even imagine what it is now. We should probably update that research report. But there is not a lot of land left. And the folks that own it are high net worth or ultra high net worth individuals.
Multi-generational.
Who don't need to sell, frankly don't want to sell. They're happy just sitting on it. It doesn't really cost them that much. Usually it's got cows on it and taxes are super low. So prying this land out of these families' hands is next to impossible. So they're not dropping pricing, it seems, and they're either going to self-develop or they'll just continue to wait, or they're going to get their number, which every time they get their number, it goes up by a couple $100,000 an acre. Yeah. So it's a moving target.
Larry, you hit on it. I mean, every year it's we're running out of land, running out of land, but we're really getting to that point now in the market, and we're starting to see it on the office redevelopments where you get a call, hey, I would like a rectangle 8-acre parcel in Broward. Like, yeah,
good luck.
Yeah, take a ticket. So, I mean, it's going nowhere but up. It shows how institutional our market has become and is going to continue to be. And, I think it has nowhere to go but up.
Yeah, we were the boy who cried wolf for a little while there on land. We kept finding it and saying there was no more. But now I think it's actually...
We're getting there.
The reality.
I would say in the pecking order, Broward has the least amount of land.
Correct.
Dade... they're using it up the quickest and it's getting less. And then, Palm Beach, obviously, you got a little bit of a demand ratio up there, but Palm Beach still has it. You go further north, there's plenty of land, but like in the true MSA, Broward and Dade, I mean, it's spoken for.
Yep.
I mean, yes, you can find it and there's still some families, like you said, that own big chunks of it. But it's expensive. Yeah. It's going to take a long time to put in production, and there's usually hurdles. They either need to fill something in, get approvals, move a urban development boundary. I mean, there's some big hurdles to go. Yeah. So I don't see that pricing doing anything but marching higher and higher for the years to come. Plus, the live local stuff when you got all these other people coming in, multifamily, and all these other competitors all of a sudden to, historically, some of these areas only used to be like attractive to industrial developers. Now, all of a sudden, they'll put in an apartment building wherever they can fit it. Yeah. So it's changed the dynamic a lot.
Yeah, so I'll just add to that owner-user pricing also was a real surprise. You would think with tariffs and with some sluggishness in the market in general, especially nationally, I thought that there was going to be some great deals out there for owner users to pick up buildings at decent prices. I'm talking like around $200 a foot, which now that's like a good deal. So that didn't happen. And it seems like pricing even went higher. Yeah. And we closed on a lot of sales at record pricing per square foot for vacant buildings. And it wasn't for anything special. They were just regular old buildings. Some of them had really low clear height and weren't the most functional. And they're still trading at $250 a foot. And they needed a lot of extra TLC. So we've got some listings out right now for sale that are aggressively priced, but there's a lot of interest just because there's no supply.
Yeah. I mean, I would just say, I think our biggest competitor in the leasing front are tenants threatening to go and buy a user building. Good point. I think that goes to show, I mean, the inventory is low, and the good properties, like you said, that are somewhat functional, I mean, they're getting activity on them.
Yeah. Yeah, we've got two awesome buildings for sale right now, one in Deerfield and one in Tamarack. If anyone's out there with a user, give us a call.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that, like, and I don't know, obviously we only do South Florida. I don't know if it's unique to South Florida, but there is such a cultural desire to own property. And I think some of it might be international based, but like so many users want to own buildings. So there's always that slug of the market that comes in, and a lot of the institutions and family offices are like, where's all the buildings? And I'm like, well, they're getting cleared up right above you from all the owner users willing to pay a little bit more because they don't have to get the return. And it just seems like that appetite just never stops. There's always seems to be a group with money that wants to own their own real estate here in South Florida.
Yeah, that's great. Really great insights. So I think, looking forward, it'll be interesting to see how those trends sort of continue to develop. I think you're definitely right about land continuing to go up. You're 100% right about the tariff issue and how it was an initial shock and it was a real event. But at the end of the day, we just kind of blew through it, which I think speaks to the strength and demand in the South Florida market. And then in terms of the owner user sales, those aren't going backwards either. It's so hard to find anything. And there's so many ultra successful businesses down here in South Florida that can pony up the money. And at the end of the day, it's kind of around the same annual expense of renting, more or less, but you're building equity, you get the depreciation, which is huge. So, I don't see any weakness or softness coming out of any of these trends that really surprise us. In fact, I just see a lot of strength. Maybe I'll switch gears here now that we've gotten those out of the way. I'm really curious about like a personal question about you guys. What was your first car? What was your first car?
Mazda MX-6.
That's amazing.
Used Mazda MX-6.
It's so awesome.
It had roller windows.
Oh my God.
There's a two-door.
That's incredible. You can't be that old.
Yeah, I look like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar getting out of it.
Like clown car.
That's awesome. Mazda MX-6. What about you, Mike?
A Dodge Challenger.
Oh, that's
Dodge
a nice
Challenger.
car. Yeah,
That's a badass car.
Man.
Was it like a
Parkland
V4 or
special.
V6? What was it rocking?
It was a V6.
V6? It was
Definitely
fast.
grew up
Very
in
far,
Parkland.
but yeah.
It could get up and go. What color?
All black.
All black? Oh, you were the
That
cool
was
kid.
nice. It was nice.
That's awesome.
Don't quite have as nice a car now, but
Your car's awesome now. I had an Oldsmobile Alero with a spoiler with a light on the back, and I thought it was the coolest thing I had ever seen. I remember my lease payment was like $138 a month, and it was a great little car, and it was awesome, and I was glad to have it. But looking back on it, it's pretty funny. I had some friends with some crazy cars. I had a friend with a Chevrolet Bonneville that was from the 80s, and every time he went over a bump, it bottomed out. And one day we were driving down the road and the muffler just fell out of it, like hit the floor. So I was just thinking about that on the way in this morning. Like,
gets to point A to point B.
It's funny how you start out with something and you sort of end up somewhere. It's good to look back, I think, and appreciate things. So with that, I'll wrap it up. I want to say thank you to Tom and thank you to Mike. This has been great. We've gotten really good feedback on this podcast. And although I don't think it'll ever go viral, frankly, our clients seem to really appreciate it and the market seems to enjoy it. So we'll continue to do it. And if you have any thoughts, comments, drop one below and let us know if we should have some guests on, or if you enjoyed a specific topic that we talked about. Definitely leave a comment below, like, and share it with anyone who you think might find value from this. So thanks for joining us, guys.
Thank you.
All right.